software can help your company profit from efficiency. For 27 years, Team has been helping building service contractors grow while remaining profitable. Our integrated financial, operations, and workforce management solutions include everything you need to manage your business. Programs included are mobile, telephone and biometric timekeeping, work scheduling, inventory, quality assurance, accounting, payroll, human resources, Affordable Care Act compliance, budgeting, job costing, and financial statements. Team recently hosted a webinar for building service contractors which demonstrated how Team's industry-specific integrated solutions can help maximize efficiency, automate operations, and drive profitability. To view a recording of the webinar, please visit the news page at teamsoftware.com.
Welcome to our CleanCast today. Thanks for joining us. I've entitled this one, What Are You Going to Do? You know, Henry Ford had one of the great all-time statements that I've really embraced down through the years. Henry Ford says you can't build a reputation on what you're going to do. You can't build a reputation on what you're going to do. Right? You know anybody who tells you about all the things they're going to do, and you meet them maybe 2 years later, 5 years later, and they're still the same broke person that they're going to do what they're going to do? They're still telling you the same thing that they were 4 or 5 years ago. You know, one of the best books I ever read was Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, written clear back in the 30s, 40s. But it's stood the test of time. You can still go to the bookstore and it's there. And if it isn't there, they say, we can order it for you and have it here in 2 days. I mean, it's popular. You know, I had that book on my desk one day, and honestly, I don't remember why it was even on my desk that particular day, but I do remember a young fellow coming in and telling me, he was just a friend, wasn't one of our employees, he just came in and he said, you know, Dick, I've read that book 5 times. It's a great book. Well, I couldn't resist. I said, Bob, what have you done about those principles of success that Napoleon Hill talks about in that book? Well, nothing yet, but I'm getting ready to get started. Well, let me tell you, if you can't get started in that book after once, you don't need to read it 5 times. Now, I've read it a couple of times, and I recommend you read it 5 times, but not just for the reading of the entertainment of it. You need to be reading it, getting going, and then come back. You know, use it as a reference. But this young man, and he was at that time maybe 28, and, you know, great time to get going, but he hadn't. Another book that I read, same time frame, called Psycho-Cybernetics by Dr. Maxwell Maltz. And this has been a guiding light too. He says, we become what we think about all day long. Now, I'll be honest and tell you, in that book, Think and Grow, or not, in Psycho-Cybernetics, I don't remember a lot about the book today, but I remember that statement. We become what we think about all day long. True, isn't it? If you think negative thoughts, pretty soon your attitude is negative. If you think positive, doesn't mean that negative's not going to creep in. But if you're on a positive road, you're going to be rolling ahead. You know, back when I was a young man in the early 70s, I just started my business, and I had a mentor. Bob O'Connor was his name. He was also my life insurance salesman, and I think he was also my first customer. And I think the reason he was my first customer is he was afraid I wasn't going to be able to pay my premiums. But he mentored me through a lot of years. In fact, he was the one who said, "What are you doing working with this company? You deserve to be on your own." And he took me under his wing and tutored me to make sure I knew how to run a business. Now, no question about it, as I needed, $500,000 worth of life insurance here or a buy-sell agreement there, Bob set me up. And that's why he was doing that. And I know that. But he formed a club called the Century Club. And the idea was, let me back up. He formed a club called the 50 Club. And that was in the early 70s when making $50,000 was, big money. And he gathered a group of about 8 of us together that were young whippersnappers like myself. And we used those 2 books, Think and Grow Rich and Psycho-Cybernetics, as our guide, as our study. And every week we would just, like Think and Grow Rich, we would discuss one chapter every week and how it applied to us, how we had applied it. In other words, and Bob was the kind of guy that would say, "Dick, you're bullshit. Excuse my French. You're BSing us. You didn't read the book this week, did you?" We met every 2 weeks. And sometimes he was right, But we met 2 times a month. We had that subject and those 2 books, and it was all business. We met at usually 6 o'clock at a club where they had a meeting room, and we'd have cocktails, and for 6 to 6:30, dinner from 6:30 to 7, and then from 7 to 9 or 7 to 10, it was all business. And in later years, we actually had to move that and call it the Century Club because we had attained our goal. And so we said, well, let's help it out here. Now we're talking about 100,000. Let's get to the Century Club. So then the group, we named ourselves and added some people, and some people went on and moved out of the area, and we had probably 4 of the original 8 that formed the Century Club. So let me ask you, what do you think about all day long? Read any good books lately? Doing anything about what you're reading? Let me suggest you form your own 50 Club or Century Club or now Quarter Club or whatever, Million Club. If you want any guidelines or guide on how to do that or would like to do it, give me a call. And my phone number is right on the website, or you can go to consultancyandcleaning.com and click on Contact Dick or Ask Dick anything, I think it says, and I'll get back with you. But remember what we said earlier, you can't build a reputation on what you're going to do. Thanks for joining us today.